What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Avengers Tower, and holy mother moly, by the beard of Zeus, we have been graced with new crazy leaks about some things that are going to be happening with the Wanda Maximoff character and her twin sons after the Multiverse of Madness. So, slight spoiler warning here, although these are very vague statements that are being put out there, I do believe that they are real, and the speculation is where the juice is at, ladies and gentlemen. It's really cool to consider the comic book versions of some of the stories that are being talked about in these leaks and the implications for what this means for Wanda, her kids, and the entirety of the MCU. So let's get into this. This all started earlier today when My Time to Shine Hello put this on the timeline. She says, the Children's Crusade project is in development at Marvel. Now, that is bananas, and we're going to explain what that run was in the comics and why it's so damn cool. But she also went on to talk about how there is also a Wanda project, a solo Wanda Maximoff project, right? So, quote tweeting about the Children's Crusade, a solo Scarlet Witch project as well. So, we're going to talk about all of that stuff, okay? But the biggest takeaway here, I think the reason why this is so juicy is because it means Wanda will survive after the Multiverse of Madness. There were questions about this, and I'm someone that's really up and up on the leaks, and even I was like, I don't know if she's going to die, if she's going to live, or whatever, but it looks like no, she will survive Multiverse of Madness and be a pretty important part of what they are doing next with the MCU. So let's talk about the Children's Crusade, man. A Young Avengers miniseries, I believe it was a 6 or 7 issue arc, but this thing was jam-packed. It begins in a prequel kind of a way with Magneto learning about the Young Avengers and thinking that Billy and Tommy are actually his grandchildren. There's a lot of crazy, sweaty comic book stuff that's going on here, but I think it's important to note that this is after the House of M event where Wanda has essentially really damaged mutant kind. There are next to no mutants left on the planet that actually have powers. Wanda also killed some Avengers and disappeared. So where we are currently at in the Marvel timeline is that they are really worried about something like this happening again, and they're trying to find Wanda. Now, important players in the story are Wolverine, because he wants to kill Wanda, and he is absolutely convinced that the right thing to do is to kill Wanda Maximoff. Magneto, who plays this really interesting role in trying to get Billy and Tommy to understand that they are mutants, they could be related to him, and they should join up with Magneto, who at the time is considered to be a mutant terrorist, and Big Daddy Doctor Doom, who plays a major role in where the story ends up going at the end of it, and he has a lot of awesome interactions with Wiccan, aka Billy. It's also important to note that these are not the same children that Wanda had in the House of M storyline. Instead, these characters randomly show up in the Marvel Universe a couple of years after the events of House of M. So they are reincarnated versions of the children that Wanda had created for herself. And oh man, this story is crazy. All those heavy hitters, all those fun themes that I talked about, but it ends up leading directly into a big storyline about Kang and about Iron Lad. And the story is basically a journey about the Young Avengers, really led by like Billy and Tommy, trying to find the Scarlet Witch to get her to reverse the things that she did, bringing people back to life and giving the mutants back their powers. Some of this is also driven by the fact that Billy does think that he could actually be her son. Eventually, they find a Wanda Maximoff that ends up actually being a Doombot, and this whole big plan is used to bring the kids to Latveria to be in front of Doom. Now, what's really crazy is the actual Wanda Maximoff is in Latveria and is set to marry Dr. Doom. And at first we were all like, dude, Doom is clearly manipulating her and doing all of these crazy things, but it ends up being revealed that Wanda came to Victor to try to get help, and this is the version of help that he decided would be best. Essentially, her memories are erased, and she's just normal and powerless, and is gonna marry Dr. Doom. And this all kind of culminates in this crazy battle between the Avengers, the X-Men, and Dr. Doom over Latveria. Wolverine essentially corners Wanda, is about to kill her, and then Iron Lad pops out of the time stream and stops Wolverine from killing Wanda because she's really important to the future. Now, Iron Lad is a whole nother thing, and it's freaking awesome, but he is essentially a version of Kang the Conqueror, a variant that knows about his future self, decides he doesn't want to become Kang, he doesn't want to become this villain and this conqueror, and so he goes back in time and is spending time throughout the time stream fighting his future self and trying to prevent himself from becoming Kang. It's really, really crazy, but that leads the older Kang and basically to trick younger Iron Lad to come back and intervene with this group of Avengers in this storyline to protect Wanda, as she's an important part of the future. Oh man, has Kevin Feige been setting a lot of these different things up, and I think that we will look back at WandaVision and Billy and Tommy in that movie, and Billy and Tommy being in Multiverse of Madness as this really, really cool way of setting the stage for the Young Avengers, and it appears that the Young Avengers project is likely this children's Crusade project that My Time to Shine Hello is currently talking about. We've got characters like Kate Bishop, like Cassie Lang, like Billy and Tommy, and I could even see the dude from Falcon and the Winter Soldier being Patriot, right? So it seems like they've got the cast of characters, and through Multiverse Madness, they might take us to a place where then a project like this could happen. And my hopes for this is that they would have some of these beats. I mean, we're literally getting Magneto and Doctor Doom in the MCU finally after the Fox acquisition. So why not actually have those people play a big role in that series? Because you don't want to just do a sort of cheap knockoff version of it. No, like swing for the fences, do the Children's Crusade right, have Iron Lad, have all these crazy payoffs with Victor, with the X-Men, with the Avengers, and all this fun stuff. Put the MCU spin on it. But man, what a fascinating thing for them to develop and do in the MCU, and I can't wait to watch it, and especially if it ties into Kang, if it ties into Wanda being very important for the coming Secret Wars event. I mean, dude, I'm all for it. Sounds freaking dope. And I think that a solo project with Wanda could be any number of things, and it's really going to depend on what happens in Multiverse of Madness and what are they actually doing with Wanda. Is she just going through some of the similar beats that the character went through in the comics, or are they combining her arc with other characters in the more modern version of Secret Wars? Like, I have this theory that in some ways she is replacing the Molecule Man as almost like this interdimensional bomb that the Beyonders have put into the multiverse to cause total destruction if they would want. And so I don't know what the Wanda solo project could be about, but my mind immediately went to the possibility of a WandaVision-like show, but like maybe with her and Victor. Like, what if they did a version of that with her and Doom in Latveria, and she's slowly trying to figure out what's actually going on in Latveria and with Doom? That is possible, and that could be really, really cool. It could be a scenario where she is taken off the board, perhaps, after what happens in Multiverse of Madness, and maybe she ends up in Latveria, but we get a solo story about her time out there in the multiverse before coming back. Maybe she's going on to do some crazy stuff that will explain all this other lore as we, again, move towards Secret Wars. I don't know, but it's exciting that Multiverse of Madness is not the end for Wanda, that the Scarlet Witch is really important to what they are doing in the future, and Children's Crusade is a dope story, ties into Kang, could lead to the MCU version of Secret Wars. I'm freaking excited. You let me know what you think about these leaks in the comment section below.